on this computer. All right, we're gonna hope my computer wasn't okay. Guys, thanks for joining the team call tonight. Really excited. Kelly and I are really excited to host this call because we're coming off of spending an amazing week with some of our coaches in New Orleans, learning and growing together. And it's always exciting to get everybody in this close environment together because you do learn so much about each other, you know. But we asked everyone who went to Summit to kind of hop on and share some of their biggest takeaways because we all, you know, obviously we go in there wearing different glasses, right? So we're going to hear different things. We're going to have a different experience, but at the same time, it's stuff that we all can learn from. So I'm going to go ahead and just jump right in and have Rebecca Huff go first.
I can go first.
Thank you.
I think it's probably hard for each of us that are going to share tonight to really kind of narrow down some things that some of our big takeaways. I do want to read to you though one thing that I was going to do because what I did is I took a bunch of snapshots of big screens that came up when people were talking, and one of my favorites was Darren Hardy, and I also had a notebook that I took a ton of notes in. So like I feel like it's kind of whatever works for you when you go to these big events of how you want to take notes. I kind of have them in a few different places right now. But one thing that I just wanted to talk about is if you have not read The Compound Effect, it's huge. Read it. It's kind of a game changer for me, just in life in general. I mean, every single itty bitty decision that we make in life affects where we're going to be in the future, whether it be good or bad decisions. It's going to affect our relationship with our kids. It's going to affect our relationship with our spouse. I mean, if you wake up with a bad attitude every day, that may not ruin your relationship, your marriage at that point, but if you do it every single day for 10 to 15 years, it's really going to wear if it makes it that long, you know? So it's the same in our business. It's just every single itty bitty step that we make. And for me, I'm really coming back to it because some of you know I'm in my first trimester of pregnancy. I've been really sick. I feel like I've kind of dropped the ball a lot on my business. I've been really down on myself about it. But what I've been trying to do is just keep in touch with my coaches, keep in touch with my challengers. I may not be getting out my connects and my invites and may not be following up with people that are commenting on all my posts every day, but I'm still trying to post. I'm still trying to be present. And I think that's a big part of what I took away from Darren Hardy, even if I didn't already take a bunch of stuff away from reading his book. And one thing that really stuck with me was him talking about pleasure and pain. And he says, the great paradox, what gives you short-term pleasure creates long-term pain. What gives you short-term pain can create long-term pleasure. So for me, it's kind of like suck it up just a little bit, as much as you can, and get in what you can do and just keep the ball rolling, you know, instead of just like, I mean, short-term pleasure for me right now would just be like completely dropping the ball, not following up with anybody, just getting through my days, taking care of myself. But I have such a vision for wanting to help people and change lives. And it's just staying in love with that passion is what's keeping me going. That's what's making me do my post, making me stay present on social media, making me stay in touch with my challengers and my coaches, and not letting it get in my head that, oh, you're sick, you can just give up for 3 months and just, you know, fall away from it. It's just, for one thing, it's just not who I am. When I start something and I'm present for people, I don't want to let them down. I don't want to let my coaches down. I don't want to let my challengers down. And then something else that he put up after that was the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And the pain of discipline weighs ounces. And it says you will suffer one of these two pains. And it's just, guys, it really kind of sums up, I feel like, what this business is all about, which is kind of discipline. And I need to watch my time. I'm going to try not to go over because there were a few things I wanted to cover. But it's just about discipline. And really, I'll be the first to admit I've been horrible at work in my power hour. But like I said, I've been just trying to get in some things that are going to help me keep my head above water. You know, it's part of it. But it's a daily decision That was something that I really took away. That was something that Kristen Sharp said when we were at the Team Courage training. It's a daily decision that we get up and make every day, whether or not we're going to do it or not. Whether or not we're going to be present, and woo! I guess that's a daily decision too. Pregnancy brain. But it really is a daily decision whether or not we're going to be present for the people that we've committed to. I mean, I really have to make that decision daily. Am I going to post in my group? Am I going to be present for these people that I told I would be present for? I mean, I have to make the decision every day I wake up right now. Be consistent instead of being perfect. Be consistent instead of being perfect. I mean, like, I've been doing this a year, and I'm at one of the slowest points I've ever been, but it's because I haven't been consistent with inviting. You have to be consistent with all your vitals, connecting, inviting, kind of doing all of it. Yes, perfectionism is the killer of dreams, and I am awful at it. I've worked on that my whole life. Like, I want a perfect house. Today I made my kids help me clean my car because I want a perfect car. But let me tell you, it was unsanitary. Like, so it's not perfect by any means. It needed to be clean. This is a big one too, guys. Set your non-negotiables and do not waver off of them. Bottom line. Like, those are some of my main takeaways. I could talk the whole night, but I will tell you, those are just some of my really, really main things that have stuck with me that I need to write down, put in front of me by my laptop, and read every day.
Thank you. And that's I was so sad to miss the Darren Hardy, because the last day I went to my nephew's wedding, so I missed all that stuff. So thank you guys, of all those little pieces that you give. I know.
And honestly, all those snapshots that I took, what I was thinking about doing is putting them in I can put them in a PDF file, or even I was going to just put them in a Word document or something and then just post them. Yeah, I can share all the snapshots that I took.
Kelly said she has the recording, guys. Yes, Kelly, share the recording. And everyone has to say is gold.
Yeah. Do y'all remember? Because he said to text it and they would send you the audio. So I'll look back through, because he also gave a free audio copy of the compound effect that he said we could share with our team. So I'll make a note to post that, because I think it'd be really good to listen to.
Yeah. One of the things he said once that really struck me is Darren Hardy has these little texts you can get every day. You can sign up to get his text sent to your phone. And I don't listen to him all the time, but one day I did. And his whole point was, you are where you choose to be. And I remember thinking, that's not fair. That's not right. Not everyone's where we choose to be, but it's exactly what Rebecca was saying. All the little decisions we make throughout the day and in our life lead us to where we are right now. So, yeah, I need to reread that book as well. Thank you, Rebecca, for giving us those. Those were really awesome pieces of gold. Sarah Kroger, you ready, girl?
I can't unmute me. Okay, did you unmute me?
Yeah,
okay,
I unmuted you. I muted myself when I told you I unmuted you.
Oh, well, I couldn't. I left Ben down in the barn because I was like, it's 9:00. I gotta go. Okay, so I've been to Summit twice now, and each year there's been this like official overarching theme that just popping up, talk after talk after talk. There's an official theme for Summit. That's not even what I'm talking about, but it just seems my mental place, my preparedness, what's going on in my life seems to pick up on, and there seems to be this common thread. And last year, everybody was talking about a sense of purpose. And I had just started floating an idea for a team name around. And every talk I went to, people were talking about uncovering your purpose and discovering your purpose and living in your purpose and all those kinds of things. This year, it was this concept of a line in the sand. And Rebecca talked a little bit about like non-negotiables and those kinds of things. And it often went around those things. Like, you decide, this is the point, I am going past this and I'm not turning back. And one of the people at the Team Courage training, it might even have been Summer, said, like, I'm drawing my line in the sand and I'm pouring concrete in it. And that was a really like finite image for me. But as the week kept going, it dawned on me that the line in the sand only works when I have decided what my goals are, and I have done it specifically, and I've put names on them and times on them. And if you've ever heard of the concept of a SMART goal, that has to be specific, measurable, attainable, SMAR, realistic, relevant, and time sensitive. Okay, I'm bad at that part. But the idea is that you have to have something specific with a name. It has to have a time frame, and you have to know when you've hit it. Because this idea of a line in the sand, everybody gets all caught up, oh, a line in the sand. But if you don't know what that line is, then you don't know when you've backed up over it. So I had to, like, the fact that I had just gone to Danny Johnson the week before, and that was amazing. I'd done some good goal conversations and like, where's our life going conversations with Ben, my husband, after that. And so I went into Summit with an idea of where I wanted to be at the end of this quarter, at the end of this year, 6 months from now, and a year from now. I had a really good concrete idea of where I wanted our homestead to be, what we wanted as a family, and what I wanted as a business. And then some longer term ones, like a 5 to 7 year range. And because I went into Summit with those things fresh in my mind, I was able to say, okay, well, this is what I'm shooting for. This is my line in the sand, and it has a name, you know? And so it wasn't just this, like, I get all caught up in the hype, and it's really cool, it's really fun, and everybody's woo, you know? And we all get all pumped up about it, but there's nothing to go home and do if you don't know what you're doing, like if you haven't thought about that. And there was actually something that I listened to, it was either yesterday morning or this morning, that really kind of put some more words to it to me. He was talking about somebody who was successful, talking about luck, and how people would say to him, gosh, you're so lucky that you got this or you did this or whatever. And he's like, that's crap. It's not luck. I worked hard for that. I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning. He was a fitness model. He's like, I got up, I did the work. I lifted the weights. I watched what I ate. I did all of these things when nobody could see me. So it looks like I just showed up and had all this handed to me. And he's like, no, you have to do the work so that opportunity collides with your preparedness. And I was like, ooh, like that's good. When opportunity collides with your preparation, really stuck with me. And it kind of tied up this whole like Summit thing. And the gospel the last 2 weeks have been about right, Amanda, that's awesome. The gospel the last 2 weeks has been about like sowing seeds on good ground and being the good ground and cultivating yourself as soil. Has been the theme the last 2 Sundays at church. And it's just been really tying it all together. I can't control the seeds that get scattered, but I can control what kind of soil that I am. And that all really kind of gelled together with me. So I guess my big takeaway from the whole line in the sand concept was making sure that I'm ready, that my line in the sand has a name on it so that I know if I've crossed back over it. And then the other thing, and I think this is true in my daily life just as much as it was at Summit, and then I'll be done because I'm sure I've talked for too long, was one of the presenters, oh, for crying out loud, one of the presenters on the Team Courage training, Ben just walked in and the dogs are barking, asked everybody, like, who made a sacrifice for you to be here? Who made a sacrifice so that you could come to Summit? But the same is true here. Who made a sacrifice finishing the barn chores so that I could come be on the call? Or made a sacrifice doing, something else so that I could do what I needed to do? And if I don't come home and do it, it's dishonorable towards them. And that one really hit me, because it was like a lot of people made a lot of sacrifices for me to go to Summit, and for me to be on my call, and for me to do my power hour in the evening, or to do whatever it is that I need to do to live the life that I want to live. And if I don't then do it, I'm dishonoring their generosity.
Thank you, Sarah. love that parable of the sower and the seeds and what you were saying. Like there's Jim Rohn has a video. If you get some time, look it up on YouTube. But he has a video about the parable of the sower and the seeds that really talks, like it really takes what we're doing and makes it I don't know, kind of like relevant in comparison to that parable, but you know, that's great. And I love what you say, like drawing that line in the sand. You know, I think that's kind of exactly, it's what Rebecca was talking about. Is exactly it. And that's kind of the way I felt. One of the things I felt there too. So I think you're right on with that. It's huge.
Yeah, it really struck me.
We're not. Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. And it was so good to see you guys there. Oh my gosh, I love this. Danielle, are you?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me with the Snoopy music in the background, I hope?
It's welcome.
So the biggest thing, and a couple other folks hit on it, was consistency wins every time, right? And so that was a consistent message, for one, across all of the different things that we heard at Summit, but it was also just that reminder of, you know, be here in a couple years, right? Consistency wins. Make sure you're consistent with your posting, with reaching out to people, with doing the vital behaviors. Consistency wins every time. So that was probably the biggest takeaway, I guess. And Darren Hardy and Sharon Harper and all the folks kind of touched on it in different ways. Sean Harper said, never allow other people to create your world because they'll create it too small. And so it was just, again, a good reminder of like all of these boxes that people like to put around you, or like to put around your ideas of what you want to do with your family or your business or whatever it is. And so trying to remember that you're the one that's really creating what it is you want to do with this and how you want to go forward. So just try to make sure that you're creating your own world and that you're the person that's controlling where your time goes, right? And so that kind of leads to the next one that I thought was just a good like aha moment. Is it said, are you focusing on your IPAs, your income producing activities? And so it said, are you doing business related activities or are you doing business building activities? And so keeping that in mind, again, as part of the consistency of what is it? Is it a business related? Like, yes, I still need to do my workout. I still need to be the example that I want to lead? Or am I really doing a business building activity when I'm trying to, you know, reach out to somebody, make a new connection, find out what their pain point is and help them through it as well, and show them they're not alone, that they're on this journey together with all of us, and that we as a team can make this work. And then the other one that was just again a good reminder was define who you are and who it is that you want to serve, right? So making sure you've got that great definition of, I know who I am, and this is the type of person that I think I can be most useful to help. And so how then do I make sure that I'm reaching out to those folks to try to help and try to be helpful, and not try to say that I've got all the answers, but just to try to say that I'm here. And if you want to walk this journey together, again, so all that was kind of good reminders. The last two were more very like business specific, I guess, which was, they said there's three main objections, which most people on this phone probably know, but it's money, time, and belief. And so in order to get people to say yes, you really need to understand why they would say no and what their no is. And so try to anticipate that, but really try to make sure you're listening to what they're saying, right? And they basically said all of the different excuses that you can get can be boiled down to one of those three objections, would be money, time, and belief. And then the last one, which was a good reminder, is that attraction marketing is old, and now is the time of curiosity marketing. So you want to be a little more vague in your posts to try to get people to ask you questions. And that way you know that people are paying attention to your posts and that they're listening and that they're actually kind of intrigued and wanting to know more. And so that was part of the other thing, is just trying to get people to ask you more questions as opposed to you always being the one pushing the information and pushing to get the answer. So just those were my takeaways. There's a lot of great stuff out there. But thanks for giving me the chance to give my highlights, Michelle.
Oh yeah, no, that's awesome. Well, and I wanted to ask, that was Shalene Johnson who talked about curiosity marketing, right? Because
Yes.
that's what I missed. I'm hoping we can somehow get a recording of that, because what you're saying right there, they were talking about that in one of the leader pages, the importance of exactly what you said, like not leaving it to where people ask questions, like when you talk about how you got your workout and maybe something about it, but not saying the name of the workout, different things like that. So that's awesome. I would love even if
That was after she told everybody that the way to get your husband on board, your spouse on board, was to have more sex.
I'll tell you something she did say that stuck with me was she said, stop counting your likes, stop counting your comments, start counting your questions. Start counting the amount of questions you're getting on your post. That means you're doing your post correctly.
Wow.
That's something I think of every time I do a post. I'm like, okay, it really changes the mindset. Like, don't count your likes, don't count your comments, count the amount of questions you get on your post.
That's really good. We need to put that in Team Fearless Freedom Family with the tip, social media tip. I don't know if you've noticed, I've started putting hashtag social media tip whenever I put a social media tip in the page. So if you can put that in there, and then one of you guys can post that in there, but do hashtag social media tip, that would be really awesome. So Danielle, thank you so much for hopping on and for sharing. I know I think she already had to run. So, on vacation. That's so awesome that she took the time to hop on here too. So I think, what do we got, Kel? You and me? All that's left? Am I missing anyone? Oh, Joy's on. Joy.
Yeah, sorry. Hi.
Hey.
I just got back. I just got on. Sorry. We had VBS. So I was running around and I didn't make it. I mean, yeah, I'm here.
That's fine. Can you share your biggest takeaways from Summit?
Well, for me, it was what was that? It was the Team Courage training that we had pre-summit. It was the talk by Lisa Medina when she said that you have purpose. Don't overthink it. You have purpose. You were created for a reason. And a simple thing that struck me was, why is it that you don't have a dream? You have a voice that needs to be heard. And so decide to leave a legacy. That was, I don't know, that struck me because it felt like I haven't had a dream. It was, just there's no the purpose there. Yeah, I don't have a solid thing. But when she said, why is it that you don't have a dream, or decide to leave a legacy, that and that you have a voice that needs to be heard, that was a major takeaway for me. And another one that she said was that you're inviting people, you're giving people the opportunity to do life with you. It's not just a fitness group. It's not just, a challenge group, a 30-day challenge group. You're inviting people to do life with you. And I think that's a major thing, that this is what we're offering is beyond just, exercise and nutrition. It's really what we're doing is life, and it affects all aspects, everything in our personal life, our marriage, our family. Yeah. So that those were my two major takeaways.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And it was so great to find, the cool thing about this business is we get this opportunity to meet people, and we know them, and we feel like we've known them for forever. And then we meet them in person. But I feel like I've already met you in person, but you haven't.
I know.
Yeah. Joy's been on the team for 2 years, and we met her physically for the first time at Summit. So that was really awesome. Thank you, all of you guys, for taking the time to come, And so Kelly, where am I? I'm looking here. There you are. Kelly.
I'm here. I was just writing all their notes down over my notes. I just went through and kind of highlighted 3 things. I think my favorite part of Summit now when we go back is to watch other people have their aha moment. I mean, I definitely think I have mine, but to see like lights go off in other people's eyes, because sometimes you go and you can hear the same content over and over, but it's not even you hearing it. It's like you watching someone else hear it, which is really cool because everything y'all shared tonight is stuff that I heard, but when you explain how it affected you, it's like it's a deeper root into this whole family, that we have. I would say, I really enjoyed hearing Sean Harper speak. Michelle and I got blessed to hear him 3 years ago, and it was neat to hear him again because so much has happened in the last 3 years. And I love how he said we need persistence through resistance. Like I started as we should put that on a tank kind of thing, but like when he talked about how, you will get knocked down, but you have to look up and you have to get up, and it's not who I am, but whose I am. Like it was just that whole knowing who you are. And he said, we're not disabled, we're uniquely enabled. So knowing that like you're who I am or who you are is like unique to the people that you're going to help, which is why this business is so special, because sometimes we worry about, there being so many coaches, but there's certain people that only you can help because of what you might consider a disability is actually a strength, to connect with someone else. The other thing I wrote down, we got to go to a leadership workshop Michelle and I did with the 2-star and above coaches, and Brendan Bouchard did a special session, which was really cool. And he said, he was talking about high performing people. And what I loved that he said, confidence. He said, most people wait too long for more confidence. Confidence comes through competence. It's like a loop. So the more you do, the more you gain. So like, you can't wait to get confident. Like you have to almost fail into it, because it's through failing and getting up in the process that you gain confidence. A lot of times I know I've said it like, well, I'm not confident, I need to grow in confidence. And what we're waiting for it to just zap us, and that's not how it works. And so that was cool. And then he said, never ask your mission to bow down to your limited strengths, have your strengths rise up. And I felt like that was just an amazing challenge to all of us. Like if you have a big vision, don't look at how limited you are, but rather see that you can rise up to that, because you wouldn't have it on your heart if it wasn't possible. Because I just think that, we're constantly growing and we're constantly learning. And even though you can hear things sometimes over and over, they're going to hit you in different ways where you are. And I love it because we've all struggled with how I have this big vision. How can I do it? I'm limited, whether our limitations are, 34 weeks pregnant and tired, or first trimester and sick, or, lots of stuff going on at home, or just lots of limitations. And I just love the challenge. He said, it's like a decision, like that line in the sand Sarah talked about, and then making the, decision and deciding to move forward. And I mean, that's part of Summit that's so great every year, is it's like you get to touch the people in person that have touched your life, and you get to see them every year. Like when Danielle said, commit to a year, and see how much you're all growing together. Like you're continuing to move forward. And so for me, I feel like I need to look through my notes daily, because there's nuggets, and everything you guys shared was really powerful. But to see y'all have ahas was really, I think, the most powerful part, to see you connecting, and like seeing Sarah run around and hugging people that she's met through the, seasons, and then meeting people for the first time. Like, it's funny when you laugh, like with Joy, I'm like, yeah, we haven't met, you know what I mean? Like, or having Rebecca, like I kept forgetting she hadn't met some of the people there, which I need to get better at introducing people. That's like a weakness of mine, but it was just cool. And I feel like, when Michelle and I were putting together the whole house, which was kind of funny because it turned out to be a brothel they renovated, which was kind of like, oh, an old brothel, not a new one. Yeah. Oh man. But it was just fun to see how like Summit 3 years ago, I came and I had one coach with me, and we stayed, and Nikki was there, and like, I didn't really know anybody. And now she and I had like this house, and people were staying in it, and we got to like gather people and feed them good food. And that was that to me was another kind of blessing to see how things grow, and so those were kind of some of my takeaways.
Yeah, I have to agree. One of the really cool things they did this summit is that they had a leadership area for people who are 2 stars and above where they can go. We've heard a lot of the stuff that some of the other coaches got to hear. We've heard it 4 years. It would have been my 5th year in a row. And to be able to be poured into by other leaders was huge in helping us to take our own growth and knowing the things that we need to work on to another level. So I have to say that Brendan Bouchard, what I love about him, I love it when people, it's so funny because I'm not Emerald, so you're going to laugh when I say this, but I love it when people give me a list and I'm able to see, and maybe it's because I'm all over the place, but he had this whole talk about high performing people. And I loved when he talked about the habits, personal habits and social habits of high-performing people. And he has a book coming out in the fall, and I'm excited to get this book when it comes out in September. But I want to just run through these habits real quick, and then I have one other thing I want to share. Because I promised Rebecca I was going to put these up, so I will put these up in more detail as well. But he said the personal habits that of high-performing people are that they seek clarity, and that comes like Kelly talked about confidence. Well, you seek clarity more than your peers. You're always asking questions. Always, am I on the right path? Am I being me? Am I doing the best job in this role? So constantly asking that, and every day they wake up every day and know that who they want to be that day, and then they live it. The second thing is they generate energy. They don't wait for energy to land. So they don't wait till they're having a great day. They know how to create their own energy. And he talked about this thing called mastering transitions, which was super cool because I've never thought of it. But he says when we're going from one thing to another, so let's say we're going from working on email to doing a PowerPoint, that we go from one to the other and we're just hopping back and forth. He says, but when we put our focus in, he says, and we intentionally, when we're going from our email to working on a PowerPoint for a presentation, he says, release tension and set intention. He says, so every time you change between major activities, to stop, take a deep breath, allow yourself to have that moment, and then think through what you're going to do next, and then do it. And when he said that, it just made so much sense. He says, before you go into the house, after coming home from work, for instance, everything in your mind is going. I don't know if you guys ever have where you get all these to-dos going in your head, and you're supposed to go in maybe and do something with your kids, but you've got all these to-dos and you're thinking. And so when you walk in, you're not as intentional with putting your time and energy into them. So he says, take a deep breath before you go in there, like you're coming home from work, take a deep breath, close your eyes, release, repeat the word release. He says, just release the tension and just be specific. I'm going in to spend time with my children and to make a memory. And then to be able to walk in and actually do it by letting go of that other stuff. He also talks about generating our own energy in the sense of before we get on a call or do something. I know Kelly's mentioned before, she'll listen to a real good motivational video. But he even says jumping up and down or doing something to create energy before we start sending those invites or making those posts or doing whatever it is we're doing. The third thing with personal habits is raising necessity. He says a lot of people don't like to give themselves pressure, but he told the story of this Olympic runner. He was at the finish line. He was at the starting line, and he had a coach who was helping him try to be the best. And he says, well, you're at the starting line. Who's going to win? And the runner that he was training said the guy who's doing it for his mom, the person who's doing it for, and he said, we have to raise the necessity and not just do it because it's something we have to do, but to put that pressure on ourselves. It's necessary for me to do well here because my family needs this, or because my husband needs this, but to think about who needs this on our A game. So I love those three. The personal, we're seeking clarity, generating energy, and raising necessity. And then the last three was the social habits, which were increasing productivity. So he says they increase prolific quality output. So who was it that was saying about when we sit down to work, doing the things that, I can't remember which one of you beautiful ladies said that, but when we sit down to work, being very intentional about what we're working with, and to know our blockbuster things that we need to be doing that's going to create the most output. The second one is developing influence. He says there's only 3 reasons you develop influence with people: to A, teach people how to think, B, to challenge people, and I don't have the third one written down. But either way, but developing influence as what is a social habit of a highly intentional person. And the third one is developing courage. So demonstrating courage and not being afraid to step up and do what we need to do. So I really liked the way he laid that out, because in order for us to be successful and to not be frantic, which is the word that, I think often comes to me, I get frantic. In order to do that, we need to be intentional with our time. The last thing that I wanted to share was Kim Carver talked about developing a hitter's mindset. He told this really cute story about his kiddos. Exactly, Rebecca. That is exactly how I get exactly frantic. But Kim Carver, this is the one thing he said. It was a really cute story. He talked about how he teaches his kids, he coaches baseball. And so he has this thing where to help the kids build confidence in their hitting, he'll put a candy bar out in the field, and he'll say, if you can hit past this candy bar, you get to keep the candy bar. So during practice, those kids, they're hitting hard, and they're giving it their best, and they're trying to hit that ball past the candy bar, and there's no inhibitions. They're going for it. He says, but then they get to a game, and they're standing there in front of that ball, and they feel the pressure of the moment. And they forget about the hitter's mindset. So and then they struggle to really give it their best. So this is like one of the quotes that really just stuck with me out of the entire, and there were so many from Summit, but he said that they were thinking about what they don't want instead of thinking about what they want. So they're worried about losing instead of putting the energy and the mindset on winning. And that really spoke to me, because I know I struggle with perfectionism, that fear of being perfect. So that was a really big takeaway. But anyway, lots of really awesome things. And I'm sure that we'll be hearing from Kelly and Rebecca and Danielle and Joy and everyone, Sarah and everyone else who's been on here throughout the rest of the year and the months, just sharing these takeaways. So Kelly, do you have anything to add before we hop off of here?
No, I think it's all good stuff.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to come here. For the ladies who went to Summit, thank you to you for your families who made the sacrifice for you to be able to come. It's always challenging, to get away from home and be in a new environment and have a lot of craziness going on. But there's a lot of growth that happens. So thank you. And guys, have an awesome week, okay?